terms of magazines were being printed by Betty Crocker, but they were all around how 50 ways to use Campbell's soup, or 20 ways to use Spam, or whatever the variation was. And these were magazines that were given out, they were magazines that were embedded in other magazines, but it was only about how to use a product. Moving forward, post-World War II, this is when I believe, opinion of one, that marketing really became a professional discipline. Till now it was kind of like, let's get an ad out, Mad Men. Who here has ever watched the Mad Men series, right? It's amusing to me. It was one generation before, like 10 years before me. But it was a little bit more, let's do a crazy ad. By the 1960s, it's becoming far, far more rigorous. This is when we talked earlier, we had soap operas, right? Because they were selling Ivy soap. And so it wasn't that the programming had soap in it, it was simply that the sponsor was one sponsor. Moving on, we're going to start seeing an acceleration of technology. That's what drives content marketing. Again, some panelists rightly said, the goal has not changed. How we do it has. The medium is the message. And yesterday we were at the mobile conference, right? And same question, who here knew about Snapchat? Me, you, and nobody else. I was like, that's really kind of stunning. Snapchat is a storytelling platform. Nobody knows how to tell stories better than us. Let's face it, we're great storytellers. By the 1980s, you had advertorials. Does anybody here know what an advertorial is? Yeah, I knew most of you wouldn't. Okay, advertorial started as, in Time magazine, Exxon wants to talk about their oil rigs. They didn't really want to talk about oil rigs, they want to talk about themselves. So they created a little section within Time magazine that was not marked as sponsored, by the way. For 3 years, you had this merging of editorial and sponsored. Then consumers felt cheated. And they said, you have to tell us if this is sponsored. And that's how the word advertorial came up. Flash forward, that's native today. Let's not kid ourselves, right? By the 1990s, direct marketing was the big tech play. You think you're all, we started it, let's say 10 years ago, nonsense. Direct marketing was about big data, it was about automation, it was about customers, it was about CRM. So in the 1990s, direct marketing was the big push in technology. By the 2000s, and I remember this, the first time somebody talked about QR codes, I'm like, wow, that is cool. When was the last time anyone here even used a QR code? Yeah, exactly. And so the point is, the medium is the message, the medium will change, the platforms will change, but the goal is no different. It's about the person. It's about personalization. It's always going to be about how you relate authentically to an individual. So we all get why content marketing is key. It's important, it's been around, it's how you make connections, it's how brands really get to a user at an intimate level. The difference and the opportunity is that content marketing can scale. And let me make 2 points here. Point 1, content marketing is just at the beginning. We are in exactly the right time at exactly the right place. It's not like this is digital marketing of 5 years ago. This is still emerging. The goal hasn't changed, make connections. What has changed is how we do it. By the way, on the bottom, and I won't go through, those are lyrics from her songs. So go look up Aretha Franklin if you don't know her. It's all about trust and authenticity. And soul music, by the way, was the foundation stuff of almost every genre of music we now enjoy today. So the second point I want to make about how content marketing can scale, I don't mean what all of you probably think I mean. You all think I mean, I can reach 1 billion people or 104, Home Talk, love that, truly. And yes, that's true. But it's more important than that because it could scale to the advertisers that can use it. I don't just mean scaling audiences. Yes, we have to do that, of course. But now we can scale, so small businesses, big businesses. We saw great examples today of tools. They're still learning how to work their way around it. But make no mistake about it, when I talk about scale, I want to help the entire ecosystem. Not just the big advertisers, but the small person who has that wedding photography and she's trying to get more customers. So if we agree that content marketing is marketing and that it should scale both at the audience level and at the business level, then the question is, how do you do it right? And I love what you said, and I'm just using another word, which is trust gives people permission to engage. We all know that right now the level of banner blindness, ad blindness, whatever you want to call it, is high. Trust That's the gate we all have to walk through, right? We cannot get anywhere unless we create trust. So then you have to ask yourself, well, how the heck do we do that? That's a human thing. We're technologists. How do you blend those two things? Let's first understand the problem. Let's understand what's misfiring. So I'm here, opinion of one, and I'm telling you content is not king, irrespective of the fact that our content is real. Sorry, Ellie. I would also argue engagement is not king. Not that it's not important, don't misunderstand, but it's not the key. Relevancy, performance. And I'll tell you, as a longtime marketer, I've heard there are many kings that have been raised up and put down. So I've stopped trusting in kings, all of them. So if those are kings, let's really understand how bad it's getting. And I talked about trauma. I pulled, and this was just a couple of them because I didn't have the heart to put the real ones up there. But these are fairly recent articles that talks about how advertising is misfiring. They are nailing some big content syndication plays. Some Digiday, first of all, talks about content syndication as the underbelly. Okay, that's an American term for those of you that might not know. It's considered the low life of it. Underbelly is a very specific term. Look at some of these New York Times. The fake news sausage factory, again, being, in Israel, it's kind of funny to say that now. But the point is, there is a high level of distrust in the general population of how advertising works. And this is major media. I write for Ad Age, and some of you may have read some of more cynical. I'm the one that's able to say, what the heck? I'm at this point in my career, it's my own company, I can be more argumentative, because I'm not worrying about Facebook hiring me, let's be honest. But these are deeply misfiring moments where you have a disconnect between what we are trying to do and how the world sees us. And frankly, it gets even worse. And I'm going to use as an example, by the way, this distribution curve is click-through rates based on 20 clients using major content syndication. Okay? And here's how, and by the way, this curve can apply to many, many technologies. You start off when it's new, it's a new thing, you get a lot of what I call curiosity. What is it? They see, let's say, an ad for some kind of content that they believe in, they're going to click. And because the content idea is so compelling, you'll see over time, on the bottom is time, the clicks are going to go up. But then inevitably, whether it happens in a day, a month, there starts to be a decline, and it gets severe because people get smart. They simply get smart. Oh, that's not real content, and back to home talk. It's not real content, it's an ad to sell me a diet pill, or a weight loss pill, or whatever it is. So then they get depressed. Damn it, I want to see that content, but it's not really what I thought it was. And then it tanks. It gets into out and out frustration. Because if they do click on it, they feel like they've been cheated. Now these curves are based on advertisers, general advertisers, consistently. But here's the good news, let's not get too depressed, right? There's good news. As advertisers and agencies get smarter, and they're getting smart really fast, they're beginning to understand how to recreate it and go down a more personalized road. And so you begin to see better quality content, so the clicks goes back up, and the ultimate point, and I really do believe we're getting there for 2017, VR notwithstanding, is personalization. In other words, as you begin to really understand how users are looking and thinking about content, and not just the echo chamber, and it is worrisome. We cannot allow echo chamber. We cannot. Meaning, if I continually click on how to dig up worms, don't keep sending me just worm content. That's ridiculous. So this is still being worked out. Again, content marketing is a new industry in the US. The goal hasn't changed, but how we do it has. And our ultimate opportunity is in truly a delighted user experience. Trust is king. So just so you know, she's noted as the queen of soul. And trust is multi-layered here, guys. Let us be very clear. And don't be naive. There is ad tech. They just don't believe it. And if they believe it to a point of, then you have between brands and agencies, you have between audiences and brands, and then finally you have between, I've got who I lost track of, but the entire ecosystem, consumers, brands, agencies, there is a complete And the election put many of the agencies and the ad tech people over the edge. What's eroding it? And again, these are the three main causes, in my opinion. Scaling real audiences. Again, every one of us knows how to reach 1 billion somebody's, quote, impressions. That doesn't mean you get into real people. Number two is scaling, monetizing engagement efficiently. Very difficult. Number three, big data. Big data is an organic thing. It lives. I really want you to take away that message. Big data can easily get corrupted. Big data organically changes. And I'll give you a simple example of how big data can get corrupted. Facebook. I was on Facebook. My daughter, by the way, I live in Manhattan, New York City. I have no plants. I have 2 windows in my apartment. So I have no outdoor space, just to be clear. She was on Facebook, and she accidentally clicked on an organic gardening ad. I don't care about gardening. Heck, if I can't order it online, I don't bother. I don't care. I have no mechanism to use it. But now, in some big data store of not my own control, I am now tagged as somebody who loves organic gardening. Oh, goody. How relevant is that to me? It is absolutely not. Big data corrupts deeply. And I learned this from direct marketing. Everybody puts so much trust in big data. Don't trust big data. Look at it. If it doesn't make sense, question it. Unfortunately, many times we have no mechanism to question big data. Be a nudge. Be annoying if you must, but understand what the data is. And then within the data, we should all be asking ourselves 2 questions. If we're going to sell to a client, we have to help them understand now what and so what. Those 2 questions, simple questions. If I generated 1 million views, if I generated 1 million clicks, now what? What do we want? You might not be doing it. You don't have line of sight, meaning you're just the platform that does X. But at least help that advertiser understand the philosophical approach to this. So those are the 3 points. Scale honorably, monetize based on clients, and then use data in an intelligent way, but with ethics, so that it really is a quality data. And it's very hard. The last one's a tricky one. It really is a tricky one. So what do I think is going to change in 24 months? Okay, next 24 months. And again, this is driven by what I'm observing in New York. And I would say, as New York goes, so goes a big part of the ad business. Content authentication. And some of you are beginning to see the issues around that right now. So what's going to happen, as US does, is we have an issue. This is not our subtle moment. We overcompensate. So now Facebook is going to go ballistic on people. I don't know how it's going to get expressed, but I promise you, if there's some questionable thing, you're just going to get whacked. So if you had 10 million views, you're going to go down to 1 million, or however that works out. Content authentication. Many Israeli companies, by the way, are doing amazing work. Suspicious sites. We're looking to integrate those, so let me know. But content authentication is critical, and there are mechanisms to do that. Number 2, topic-based programmatic. Again, I started it not because I was intending to even be a startup CEO. Frankly, it's the last thing on my mind. But I could see a real gap between content marketing as a creative thing and the ability to distribute. So we link together the creation and the distribution. Again, as an advertiser, I don't really want to have to go to platform A, B, C, D. I want to be able to organize it. And so being able to scale content to people who care about it, the only way to scale it is through topics. Content syndication are great examples of that. Moving it into programmatic gives them that opportunity. And finally, human size scale. And when I say human, I mean the business side, the small business side as well. So those are, again, I'm talking about the next few years, VR, and I don't know where the VR guy was. Oh, here you are. Yeah. I do believe you're right. I don't believe for 2017, by the way. We'll see. Next year when I come back, we'll see. I'll bet you coffee. And so let me just end by saying, trust in scalable content marketing isn't a technology play. It really isn't. It's about giving advertisers, agencies, the tools to understand the data that drives what content they should create, the opportunity to place it, and finally, the opportunity to monetize. Thank you very much. Questions? No? Great, it's lunchtime, right?
No. One more speaker.
What? Oh, okay, sorry. There we go. Thank you, everyone.